welcome to the Kangaroo English Podcast, a podcast about language for people who love languages and learning. I am your host, Christian, and today I am joined by my co-host, Matt. How are you today, Matt?
All good. Hello, everyone. Hello, Christian.
Today's episode is a word roots episode where we follow the journey or the root of a group of words through time, and we also look at the origin or the root of those words. To help you remember and be able to use the vocabulary in this episode, me and Matt are going to be sharing lots of stories about today's words, how they relate to other words, and especially how they're used in context in modern English. So, Matt, today we are going to be taking a word route from horse to helicopter. So, Matt, can you think of any possible connection between a horse and a helicopter?
The first thing I think about is they both start with H.
Okay.
But the second thing that jumps right into my mind right now, Christian, is how are you pronouncing helicopter? Can you say that again?
Helicopter.
Helicopter. Interesting.
Yeah, I notice now that you've said it that I'm doing more like a heli, right? Like a kind of a pretty clear E, whereas yours is more like a schwa, right? It's more like a helicopter.
Helicopter. Copter. Helicopter.
Right. And also, of course, you're pronouncing your R, right? Your R is really clear compared to mine.
Yeah. But what's the connection between a horse and a helicopter? No idea, Christian. They start with H. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. Have you ever seen those videos where sometimes they have to move cows long distances? I understand this is something that they do in Switzerland, and they actually move the cows using helicopters. Have you seen this?
I have seen something like that. Basically, you have the helicopter and what looks like a big chain or cable or something, right? And they connect something underneath it and they just pick it up.
Yeah.
And the cow seems to just sit there. It's not like their legs aren't moving around a lot.
Right. It seems pretty. I mean, maybe it's terrified because it's not normally something that flies in the sky, but I don't know how it's feeling. We don't know.
After we have a night eating pizza, I wish I had a way to move around like that. Just a helicopter to pick me up, move me over, drop me in bed.
Okay, well, let's start our word route and let's find the connections between a horse and a helicopter. The first thing you should know about the word horse is that for most of the history of the English language, the word was actually hross.
That sounds like a Viking god or something. Can you say that again? Horse?
Hross. So the R and the O had switched positions. Okay, so originally it was HROS, hross.
Hross.
Right? Hross.
Sounds strong.
It does, right? It sounds much more kind of like, Germanic and like Viking, yeah. And so now I have a question for you, Matt. I want you to think a little bit about all of the words that we have that describe horse-related things in English. Like, for example, if you have a competition in the Olympics where they have to ride horses, what would you call that?
Equestrian, an equestrian event. Very specific word there.
The reason that it's called equestrian is because the word in Latin for a horse was equus. I want you to think for a moment about what is the word for a horse in Italian.
That starts with the C, so it's a cavallo.
Cavallo. Okay, so super similar to Spanish. In Spanish, it's a caballo. Okay, right, almost identical. And I guess because also you speak a bit of German, do you know the word for a horse in German?
In German, what is it? I think it's Pferd. It's like P-H-E-R-D, I think.
Yeah, very good. You're so close. It's P-F-E-R-D, Pferd. Yeah.
Okay, Pferd, yes. That doesn't sound like horse, though. Actually, I mean, when you said horse, it sounds to me definitely more like a Northern European word, like a Germanic word, right? Like a Viking language or Germanic type of word. It doesn't sound very Latin at all because of that H and the R in there like that. And the O.
That's exactly right. So in English we have this word like horse, And then in Italian, you've got cavallo, I think you said cavallo. Okay. Spanish, you've got caballo. German, you've got preferred. In Danish, you have the word is hest. Okay. Hest, hest.
Okay.
So all of the words in all of the European languages are actually synonyms. They're synonyms maybe for something that was big or fast or beautiful, something like that, right? So can you think of a reason why we don't have like all of the European languages using equus in some way?
Um, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's think about it. I don't know much about the history of horses, but I'm not sure if there were horses in, let's say, Scotland a long time ago. When did horses arrive? Where are horses from, Christian, actually? Does it have to do with that from Arabia somewhere? I'm not sure where horses come from, but maybe that's a reason why.
Oh, well, what I can tell you is that horses were actually a really important part of the religious aspect and the ceremonial aspects of like the people who spoke Proto-Indo-European. So like they spoke the language before, like before Latin, before Greek, before, Spanish. Does that help you at all to think like what could be a reason why they wouldn't use this kind of direct name for the horse?
No, Christian. Honestly, I'm not there yet. Maybe you mentioned religion, so maybe it had to do with the name of a god that had to do with a horse or something, and or they couldn't say it. I don't know.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's one of it's a superstitious reason, right? Remember that, so many cultures throughout history believe in word magic, that if you say the name of the thing that you can have problems with gods or with magical beings or something. And so that's why in basically zero European languages we have that original word equus being used for a horse.
Mhm.
They were avoiding using the word equus or anything similar to equus because it was kind of taboo.
Because the horse was a really special animal, so it was, like, sacred, something like that? I still don't really get why.
Yeah, exactly. It was really important in the ceremonies and, superstitions. Like if you look at cave paintings from that time, there were lots of paintings of horses. There were like magical animals.
That makes sense. Okay. I'm just maybe a little confused or it's not clear in my head. But if they were using a synonym, let's say I don't want to describe the horse, so I use another word like fast or quick or something like that, right? Does that mean there was a word that they were avoiding? What was that original word?
The words were they were based on the Latin equus. There were different forms of that, yeah, that they were avoiding. So now the word only survives in English, for example, as indirect ways, like equestrian events, for example. We still have that equus, but used like indirectly, not used directly for the animal. This is the same reason that we call a bear a bear. Do you know this story?
No, actually, I don't know that. No.
Oh, okay.
Why? Where does the word bear come from? So it must mean that it's a synonym or people were afraid of using an original word, so they invented the word bear. Can you explain this?
It's exactly right. So people were really afraid of bears. Remember in Europe, bears were a big problem. They would kill you. And so instead of saying um, any of the Latin related words for bear, which was like arctus, they just called it the brown one. And brown is where we get the word bear. I have another test for you, Matt. Another test of your language skills. Um, do you, by any chance, know the word for a horse in Greek?
No, I have no clue. In our first episode, I felt like I knew a lot, and in this one, I don't feel like I know a thing. So, what is it?
Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of a clue to help you. When doctors first, when they finish their studies and they become a doctor, they have to make a promise not to hurt anybody. Do you know what that's called?
Yeah, it's a type of oath. An oath is where you promise something, and it's the Hippocratic oath, maybe?
Very nice, very nice. So, the Hippocratic Oath came from Hippocrates, who was like, the first, I don't know, the father of medicine, I think people call him. Okay. But what's really funny, his name, Hippocrates, literally means horsepower. So the word in Greek for a horse is actually hippo.
Hippo. In Italian, hippodrome. I guess, can we say that in English? A hippodrome.
Look, I only know that word from researching this episode, but before that, I had never heard the word hippodrome.
Okay. Basically, that's like a horse racetrack.
Right.
Is there a connection to hippopotamus?
Ooh, very nice, Matt. Very nice. Before we get to our hippopotamus, let's just stay with hippo for a second. Now, I have a question. If somebody really loves the cinema,
Okay.
okay, they just love going to the cinema, they love talking about the cinema, they love, everything about the movies. Can you think of an adjective you would use to describe them?
What's the word? A cinemaphile? Cinemaphile.
Very nice. Very nice. That's exactly right. So if we look at the end of that word, then we see file, right? So file means it's like a lover of something.
And we have a lot of words in English that have to do with that. The most famous one, of course, Christian, is
A pedophile? Is it-
there we go.
there it is.
From horses to pedophiles. See, once again, I would say pedophile, and you said pedophile. So there's another little difference. Cinemaphile, a pedophile. What are some other ones?
There's an audiophile, I guess, is probably another one that's kind of fairly common. But yes, I would say that of all of the file words in English, for sure, pedophile. I mean, the original idea, of course, is a lover of children. In theory, could be positive, but obviously, in the modern context, a pedophile is a very negative thing.
Right. One of the worst things ever. Sorry we got into pedophiles there, but yeah, it's the best example I can think of. File, cinemaphile. It does sound a bit. How can we say a bit?
Yeah, I agree. I think it sounds a bit formal. Like if I meet you and you say to me, "Oh, Christian, I'm a cinephile," I'm like, "Okay, that's
Is it cinephile or cinemaphile? Sorry, I'm not sure what I said before. It's cinephile, right?
I think both would be acceptable, Matt."
Yeah, because I think in everyday English we would just say I love movies. I mean, I know that sounds simple, everyone, but that's what I would say. I love movies. I'm a movie lover, which I guess is exactly the same thing.
Same thing, different words. Okay, so this file is also hidden in another word. It's a medical condition. It's a medical condition where people love to bleed.
They love to bleed. What's the word? It's like the royal families in Europe, when they all had kids with their brothers and sisters and cousins, and then the children have this specific disorder, right?
God, I don't know about that. I don't know about is it the inbreeding causes this?
I'm pretty sure, Christian, that there was a yes, I know this is a bit strange, but there was a side effect of inbreeding, especially over generations and generations, is hemophilia. Now, it doesn't mean that if you have hemophilia that your parents were inbreeding, okay? But I think that it's something that pushes it more.
Right, interesting. So yeah, a hemophilia or a person, a hemophiliac is a person they just love to bleed. You just cannot stop them from bleeding, right? Here's the final part of the puzzle, okay? And this brings us to our next word, okay? So if I take the Greek word for hippo and I combine it to the word file, how can I say somebody who loves horses?
So they're a hippophile.
They're hippophile, right? That makes perfect sense. We should call them a hippophile. They're a horse lover. But what if we swap the words around and we say they are a lover of horses?
A lover of horses, so they're a file hippo? Yeah, I don't know, file hippo?
A file hippo. And guess what name that has produced over time?
File hippo, Fila hippo, Fema hippo, I don't know, Filippo.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So all of the names that we have that are like related to this, so like Philip in English, Felipe in Spanish, Philippa, right? I don't know, in Italian, are there any names?
Filippo, yes. Basically, it means lover of horses. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, everyone, to remember that, think of Prince Philip in England. Prince Philip looks like a horse.
Everyone in the royal family looks like a horse, really. Actually. Okay, now are you ready for a fact that's gonna absolutely blow your mind, Matt? Because it blew my mind when I discovered it.
Okay. Does it mean that Matthew is like rat lover or Christian is, pizza lover or something?
I I don't know, maybe Matthew is rat lover, I don't know, I don't know, but, let's travel back in time to 1542, and there was Prince Felipe he was the Prince of Asturias in Spain, and he was in charge of a nice little excursion, okay, a nice little voyage that went out into Asia, and they discovered a new country. And the guy who discovered it, he decided to name this country after Prince Felipe. Do you have any idea what this country could be that's named after Felipe in Spain?
Just thinking of country names, it's gotta be the Philippines, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Can you believe it? The Philippines are named after the horse lover guy in Spain.
So Philip, okay, but the Peens part, what is that? Does that mean anything? Like the land of Philip or something?
Yeah, it's the islands of Philip, actually.
Oh, okay. That's not that strange to me though, Christian, to be honest. Why? Probably because in North America, so many of the places are named after people from England, like Georgia,
Oh, right. That's like King George or something. Right.
or yeah, Louisiana.
Right.
But I think Louisiana would probably be connected to Louis, like King Louis, because Louisiana was, connected to France. Okay,
Right. Right.
and a lot of place names and city names and regions in the United States and Canada, they're named after people from Europe.
Yeah, I guess I kind of knew that that happened, but for some reason, I just never imagined the Philippines were connected to Spain in some way. It just I don't know. It's just my naivety.
The same with me. I just wouldn't connect the Philippines to Spain, um, but I guess that's just being ignorant of history here. I just
Yeah. Okay, so we have gone from our first word, which is horse, to our second word, which is Philip, and then now we're going from that hippo to an animal, and you already know what this animal is, right, Matt?
Uh-huh, because we just randomly mentioned it before, so hippopotamus. So the hippo part is the horse, and the potamus, what's that?
Well, where do hippopotamuses kind of spend a lot of time?
In the water.
Exactly. So, potamus is the Greek word for river. So, hippopotamus is literally a river horse. Okay.
Okay, okay. They're big horses, yeah, uh-huh.
I've got a question for you. When you like think about a hippopotamus and you look at a hippopotamus, what animals do you think it's related to, like in the animal kingdom?
I I don't know the answer, Christian, but if you look at a hippo, I mean, it doesn't really look like a horse, though I guess it does have 4 legs, and looks like a really bloated fat horse. I mean, it's big, so I think of an elephant, but it definitely doesn't look like an elephant at all with its face, or its head, so I don't know, Christian, it's a really weird animal. So, yeah, what are they connected to?
Well, this is the thing that I love about doing this format of the podcast, okay? Because it actually makes me sound like I like know everything. When actually the only reason I know this stuff is of course because I researched a lot of things for this episode. But I'm going to give you a little bit of help, okay, to try to guess what animal a hippopotamus is related to. So, firstly, it spends a lot of time in the water, and secondly, it's not a fish, right? It can't actually breathe underwater, so it like holds its breath and goes under and then comes up again to breathe.
Does this thing live in the ocean like a whale?
Exactly. Hippopotamuses are related to whales.
Ah, okay.
And so that whole family, like, whales, dolphins, the hippopotamuses, they're all in the same family.
So you're telling me a hippo is like a cousin of a whale, and it's further away from a horse than it is from a whale.
It's extremely far from a horse, right? It's extremely far from a horse. But what I kind of discovered is that a huge majority of the animals on Earth are all part of the same family, right? They're called tetrapods. Tetra, from like five. So they have like basically a head and four legs. So pretty much anything that has a head and four legs, so a hippopotamus, a horse, a rat, whatever, they all share a common ancestor. And believe it or not, that includes whales and dolphins. If you look, and I recommend you do this, if you go and look at an X-ray of a whale or a dolphin's fins, get little fin things at the side, they have basically inside them, they have little hands with fingers inside the flipper.
Well, Christian, you're like the crocodile hunter here from Australia, you know?
G'day, I'm Steve Irwin, and these are highly venomous sea crates.
And that brings us all the way back to a horse. Okay, so, and this fact made me feel really super uncomfortable. So basically, a horse also has 5 fingers on each leg. Okay, right? But 4 of the fingers are kind of have shrunk over time. They've evolved to become really tiny. So they're just like tiny little bones. So really, a horse is walking on just its middle finger. Okay?
Okay.
And the hoof of a horse, okay? The hoof of a horse is a giant fingernail.
Okay. The hoof of a horse does look like a fingernail. Well, it, it looks like my fingernails, Christian. It does look like it looks like a nail, right? Because they have to cut them down and so on. But that's really weird. So basically, a horse is, giving the middle finger as it's walking. It has 4 middle fingers, walking around on 4 middle fingers.
Yes, right. How disturbing. That makes me feel really uncomfortable thinking about horses just like on one like long finger, you know?
Yeah, that sounds really horrible. Like imagine walking around on all fours with just your middle toes and your middle fingers. It's horrible.
It is horrible. So now to move on to our next word, we're actually going to focus for a minute on the second part of hippopotamus. We're going to focus on the potamus part. Okay, so we're going to focus on the word for river. This word, it came from Greek, and we don't really have any similar words in English, but we do have a similar concept. Okay, so the reason that epotamus was a river in Greek is because a potamus or a river, it goes really fast. Okay. So basically in Greek, the word potamus meant something that moves rapidly, something that goes quickly. And if you think about like animals that are fast, like what are some of the like fastest animals that immediately appear in your mind?
The first thing I think of is a cheetah. Actually, since we're speaking about hippos, I mean, hippos can run pretty damn fast if they get angry, can't they? Aren't they really aggressive? I mean, that's an animal that scares me. So I bet a hippo could run pretty fast. But a cheetah is the first thing I think of as the fastest animal.
Okay. Give me some more. Give me some more animals you think are like just that you associate with going really fast.
A gazelle, a rabbit. I don't know, Christian. Those are the first things I think of. A rabbit, because turtles are slow, and we think we have that story in English. We have this famous story about a rabbit and a turtle. So
Yes, true. Okay, well, my list was basically exactly the same as your list, but then I realized that I was making the mistake of only thinking about land animals, right?
yes, okay, okay. I guess fish are could be really fast. A dolphin, dolphin's got to be really fast.
They're pretty fast. They're pretty fast. But as an American, Matt, there is an animal, a very symbolic animal for Americans that you're missing here.
A turkey.
Turkey. Turkey. What?
You're probably speaking about a bald eagle, I'm guessing. Oh, Christian, do you know when they were, trying to decide on a symbolic animal from North America, they actually had, I think Benjamin Franklin had suggested a turkey to be the symbol. A bald eagle is a much stronger bird than a turkey. So yeah, I guess a bald eagle. I guess eagles could be really quick.
Isn't there a thing where, like, at Thanksgiving, the American president has to, like, forgive a turkey or, like, pardon a turkey?
So to pardon someone is think you're guilty, like in a court of law, and then the king, the president, whoever, they come and they kind of wave their hand in front of you and they say, "I pardon you." It means something like you're free now. You're forgiven for everything that you've done.
So what did the turkey do? Does he have to pardon the turkey?
It's just a tradition because all the turkeys are going to get killed for Thanksgiving. So symbolically, they want to say, they don't all die. What I do know is that they pardon two turkeys. There's like a backup turkey.
What? In case what? In case the first one tastes bad or something? Or
I'm not sure in case the one runs away or he dies or he freaks out. They have a backup turkey. I'm pretty sure they pardon two of them.
oh my God, I just realized that I'm so stupid. So what you're saying is that the one that they pardon, they don't kill that one.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, basically, there are millions of turkeys that die for Thanksgiving. And the tradition is, Christian, they find, two. And then the president, kind of acting like a king, which he shouldn't be, but anyways, goes and says, "You are pardoned. You're free." Because the president has the power to pardon criminals. So the pardoned turkeys, then they live a life of luxury. They send them to some beautiful farm and they live out the rest of their lives forever. Kids go and see them.
I'm so stupid because I've never actually seen this ceremony, and I thought that basically he pardoned the turkey and then, like, he cuts its head off.
Okay. No.
So it's like, we forgive you for all of your.
Think of it like all turkeys are criminals, Christian. Turkeys are all criminals. They're evil. So they all should get killed. And then the president pardons the two and he says, "I forgive you for your crime of being a turkey." And then they're free forever.
Well, that's why I couldn't understand it. I just couldn't understand why. The why, like, I thought maybe it was a religious thing, like all turkeys are born with original sin or
Sin.
something.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure they're very fast though, because they're kind of fat and full of feathers. So, why were you speaking about fast? Oh, the eagle. Why are eagles the fastest animal on Earth? What is the fastest animal on Earth?
Okay, so remember that the Greek word potamus, okay, so the hippopotamus is the horse that's in the river. It was called a potamus because it goes very fast because the water in a river moves quickly. And so the Greek word for a wing, okay, for the wing of a bird was ptero, okay, which is spelt Pter.
Pterodactyl, like the dinosaur.
That's exactly right. So, Matt, I know that you're going to put together this little language puzzle. Pterodactyl, what could that literally mean?
So the ptero is wing, you said, right?
Yes.
Um, and the dactyl, I don't know, but maybe it has something like tactile. So something with fingers, winged arms.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You nailed it. The pterodactyl literally means wing fingers.
Was pterodactyl one of your words?
It is. Pterodactyl is the next word.
Oh, okay.
We've gone from a hippopotamus, okay, so the fast-moving river, to a pterodactyl, okay, which is basically a fast-moving, wing-fingered animal. Matt, have you ever seen a book? There's a book called The Worst Spelling Book in the World. Have you ever seen that book?
No. What is it a kid's book or something?
Well, it's a kid's book, but it's meant to be funny, okay? And because normally in an English alphabet book, you have like A is for apple, and B is for, I don't know, banana.
Mhm.
But this book is the opposite of that, okay? It's like where none of the spelling makes any sense. And so in
Okay.
this book, P is for
It's for pterodactyl.
we do not pronounce the P in pterodactyl in English, right?
Right. Okay. So it's just playing around with silent letters and horrible spellings and things. Got it. I mean, this is important for everyone listening. As we will probably say every episode, English spelling is just a bit crazy. And we have all these silent letters and strange pronunciations and things, right, Christian? And so some of this is what is just from where these words come from. A lot of it has to do with history. English is history. So never feel bad if you don't know how to spell an English word. It's normal.
So let me see if you can guess some of the other words that are in this book, the worst spelling book in the world. Okay. So the letter G, okay, G, I'll give you a clue. It's an Italian food. It's kind of pasta.
Gnocchi.
Yes, well done. Gnocchi. Exactly right.
Like we spoke about last week with the word cappuccino, gnocchi, I think that it makes a lot of Italians, they want to pull their hair out. There's an expression. They go a bit crazy when they hear English speakers or people from other languages saying the word gnocchi. So could you say it again, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would never say I would never go I would never go gnocchi. I just say it like no, I just gnocchi.
Uh-huh. Right.
I'm sure that if we went to New Jersey, there's like some guy going, "Hey, give me some of that fucking ganache stuff."
Ganache.
The ganache.
Anyways, so in the book, for letter G, it's gnocchi. Wow. Is gnocchi an English word though? Is gnocchi in the English dictionary? I guess it is.
Well, you made a good observation that a huge majority of these words that have this unusual spelling are very recently borrowed from other languages, right? So the majority of the words in this book are clearly, recently borrowed from like Italian or, Hungarian or some other language, right? For example, T, okay, the letter T is from Japanese. It's a word for a really big wave.
Ah, yeah. A tsunami. Tsunami.
Tsunami, right?
We don't say is too hard for English. That's not a sound we make really. The ts at the beginning of a word. Tsunami.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder what the word's like in Japanese. Do they actually say tsunami?
Good question. I have no idea, actually. Okay, so we have arrived at our pterodactyl, and now we are about to move into our final word. Okay. Do you remember what that word was?
You said at the beginning we went from a horse to a helicopter.
Right. So now that you know that a pterodactyl is wing fingers, what could a helicopter be?
Spinning fingers? I don't know. I still don't. Heli is something with air, maybe because of things like helium. So I'm guessing that has to do with air. Air.
So you are doing exactly what everyone in English has done with this word for since this word came into English, which is you're dividing it into two parts, right? Which is heli and copter.
Right.
And it's clear that we do this because, for example, if you buy like a drone to play with a drone, or if you buy a drone to do photography or video, most of those have four propellers, and we call those a quadcopter.
Hmm.
And so any English native speaker who looks at that word, they look at it and they go, it's heli and copter, right? Easy. But what if I told you, Matt, that it's actually helico and pter?
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm not sure I would believe you if I didn't know you were a language teacher, because that sounds really crazy to me that you would break up the word towards the end. My feeling tells me that it should be broken in the middle.
Exactly.
And maybe because of heli sounds like it's one piece. Yeah, and copter sounds like it's a clearly second piece. It's really strange to me that you would break it apart there.
Yeah. So if we take that second piece, that pter part, can you see the connection to a pterodactyl?
Uh-huh. So that what was that? That's wing? Is that right?
Exactly.
Um, so in the heli what was the first then? The helico? Helico is the sky?
No, helico is like a helix, like a spiral.
Okay, okay. So it's like spiral wings.
Very good. That's exactly right. So a helicopter is basically a wing that goes round in a circle, basically.
Okay, okay. And so Christian, I mean, all interesting, but who invented that? So I don't know much about helicopters, but I mean, who invented the first helicopter? And then I guess whoever invented it, they just made up a name for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is another great example of how, like, you know, language is always built on previous words, on metaphors and human experiences. And it came into English from French, okay, in the 1860s, where it was a hélicoptère.
Okay. In the 1860s.
Yeah.
Seems like a long time ago for a helicopter, but okay, okay.
Very often in the worlds of science and technology, they go to the Greek or the Latin because it just sounds better, right?
Right. It sounds ancient and knowledgeable. It's connected to
Yeah.
education and university. It sounds high level.
It does. Like, imagine if it wasn't called a helicopter. Imagine if it was called a spinning wing. Would sound ridiculous, right?
Right, right.
So let's just quickly do an overview of our word roots today. So we started at horse, and then from there we went to Philip, okay, who was a lover of horses. And then we went to our river horse, okay, the hippopotamus, which then took us to the pterodactyl, okay, that really fast moving wing fingered creature, which finally brought us to a helicopter.
Very good. This first route here sounds like a bunch of ex-girlfriends. So first we had a horse-looking girl. Then we had a hippo.
Hippopotamus.
We had one who looked like Philip. We had one with big winged arms.
Flat, big flobby arms,
Yeah.
right? Flabby arms.
Flabby arms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, Christian, an interesting word root that I don't think I would have ever jumped from these words from horse to to Philip to hippo and so on. It's like you're jumping on stones across a river, and they're just they connect, but not in a direct way.
As always, we are going to finish this word roots episode with a true or false question. So, Matt, I guess you know the word moron. How would you describe a moron, Matt?
A moron is basically a synonym for an idiot, for a stupid person. So if you're a moron, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're an idiot.
Okay. So, here's my true or false question. The word moron comes from medieval English. True or false?
Uh, um, well, hmm. Let's see. Does moron sound like an old word in English? Let's just think about that for a moment. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, Christian. I'm just going to go with a yes, though I don't have a lot of good reason why.
It just feels like your instinct. It just feels.
It feels that way. Maybe because of the M and the R. It feels like a word that could come from the Middle Ages. I'm going to go with that. I'm sure that there are a lot of medieval kings yelling at people like, "Get out of here, you moron."
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm sorry to say, unfortunately, it is false. It is not a medieval word. Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
I guess I'm the moron then.
I guess I'm more. Um, so the story of this word is actually interesting and horrifying and funny at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
And it's directly connected to the United States. So the word moron was actually coined. So this is a special word we have in English. When somebody creates a word, we don't say they create the word, we say they coin the word. So the word moron was coined by the American psychologist Henry Goddard. Now, Henry Goddard unfortunately was in the category of people, they are called eugenicists. So they had similar beliefs to like the Nazis in Germany. He believed that you could create a race of superior people by allowing genetically perfect people to have babies, and everyone else should be sterilized. Everyone else should be actually not allowed to even have children.
This guy sounds like a moron.
Right. So he created a system of classifying people based on their intelligence. So first you had at the top, you had things like, genius and superior intelligence, and then you had normal, which was in the middle, and then below that you had the classifications for everyone else. So the first one was dull.
Dull, Dull. We still use that today to say someone's not very bright, right? They're dim, they're dull, they're stupid.
Right, so it was normal, then there was dull, and then if you were below that, you were a moron.
Okay,
If you were below a moron, you were an imbecile or an imbecile.
okay. Imbecile.
And the most stupid people, okay, the dumbest of the dumb, you already said the word, they were called idiots.
Okay. So he made a classification of idiots, basically.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Interesting. Because I think today all of these words are more or less synonyms. I mean, we don't normally make a difference between a moron, an idiot, or an imbecile.
Exactly.
They're all just stupid people. But Christian, did he invent these words or did he just copy them from other places? And so why is this connected to him?
Yeah, so once again, he put these words in the classification, but he was like the first person to use these words to describe like unintelligent people. They were words either from Latin or Greek.
Okay. So he just took old words and then he created a new word, an English version of that old Greek or Latin word. Is that right? Or is this something people were saying in the street maybe and he just wrote it down?
Some of the words were already in use, like idiot, for example, but moron was a word that he directly created himself or coined himself.
Okay. Okay. But is it based off something from history?
Yeah, so it comes from the Greek moron, which meant a stupid person. He took it from Greek.
So there we go. So the ancient Greek people were calling each other morons.
I wonder if in modern Greek they have a word similar to moron. I don't know. If you speak Greek, please write us an email and tell us.
Yeah, let us know if we're a bunch of morons or not. But so basically, this word, if I'm following the story right, so this word was in ancient Greek. Maybe it was written down somewhere. But then it disappeared, or it wasn't being used in English.
Exactly.
And then centuries later, a long time later, this guy came back and he just took it out of the Greek language and he put it back into English.
Exactly right.
And people followed it from then on.
Exactly right.
It must have been pretty popular what this guy was writing, because I mean, we could do that on our own and make my own little classification of idiots, but nobody would be using them, right? So this guy must have been pretty popular, or he must have written a book that got published widely, or it got into the newspapers, I guess. Because how else did that word catch on?
He was incredibly influential psychologist, okay? In fact, he was so influential that he was hired by the American government because the American government was very scared about all the new immigrants coming into the United States, that they were going to essentially make everybody a bit stupider. Okay, so let me tell you the best part of the story, okay? So, in 1912 and 1913, he gave tests, okay? It's called the Stanford-Binet Intelligence Test, and he gave this test to all of the immigrants that came into the US via Ellis Island in New York. But because he was a eugenicist, he only tested the third-class passengers. So he didn't test anybody in first class or second class because of course, if you have money, how could you possibly be stupid?
Right. So he only tested the poor immigrants, basically.
Yes. And he gave them this test in English.
Mhm.
And the test is It only takes about 15 minutes to do the whole test, but of course, it contains incredibly complicated instructions about moving objects, about manipulating objects. It contains a section about language questions like synonyms. Can you imagine, Matt? Imagine if you and me, imagine if we go to, like, let's say we arrive in Hungary, okay? And there's a guy waiting for us, and he gives us like a 15-minute intelligence test in Hungarian.
After we just, got off of a boat after a long journey, where we,
Yes.
it traveled a long, long ways. Yes, right. Maybe we don't know how to read or write as well, but okay.
Exactly. Do you think you would do well on that test, Matt?
I doubt it. I think I'd just be telling the guy, okay, yes, 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 yes. Can I go?
Right. Okay, so the end of the story is amazing. So the results found that 83% of Jews, 80% of Hungarians, 79% of Italians, and 80% of Russians were officially classified as morons.
Okay. Well, it's only the second worst in the list, right? They weren't imbeciles or idiots.
I know, but
I wonder who the idiots were.
can you imagine?
83% seems really, I mean,
Can you just imagine, like you arrive in this new country and they give you this test and like, I'm sorry, man, you're a moron.
in the universities, they're just like, yep, all these guys are morons. They're a bunch of idiots,
Oh,
these
God.
people. Well, this guy's a moron, and I also feel like an imbecile at the end of this episode after all of your questions, Christian. I think I need to study a bit more for next week. Maybe I'll move up to moron level. Let's see.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Word Roots. If you want a transcript of this episode, plus a list of the key vocabulary we discussed today, you can find it on the website at kangarooenglish.com. If you have any questions or comments about today's episode, please send us an email at podcast@kangarooenglish.com. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to support this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Matt, as always, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah. Remember, everybody, the word of the day is moron. That's an important word. Be sure to use it in your English this week.
Thanks to everyone for joining us, and we'll see you in class.